Hey guys, so I'm a huge fan of Arken Optics, but there are some of their scopes that I'm just not gonna buy. There's a reason why I'm not gonna buy the Arken LPVOs, and it basically boils down to two things, is the weight and the reticle. Now I could be wrong, but I think in their attempt to create this new reticle and distinguish themselves from other optics companies, they went with a design that is kind of weird. If you look on their website, we're looking at their reticle. You see that, and this is actually a great design. At 1X, you have that, it's almost like the EOTech, where you have that circular reticle. Cool. At 1X, you'd be able to use that and have fast acquisition. That's a good idea. But then when you zoom in, you have this weird, like, they call it the kill box. So it uses, basically, the design is you're supposed to fit an IPSC target or human body in whatever box it fits in. That's the distance that you're supposed to hold and shoot. Now, to me, looking at that, you know, it has that horseshoe kind of ACSS reticle in that center, which is good. I like it. That works, right? I'm not saying it's a bad design, but then if you're going out at distance and you're shooting at further distances, you're going to need holds for wind, and instead of that, you just have these numbers there with one dot on the outside. To me, it doesn't really make much sense, especially if targets that we're shooting at are not that shape, right? So these aren't mills. These are just this is a BDC style reticle. If I'm shooting at 500 to 600 yards and I need wind, and it's not a target that is, I don't have a human being presenting themselves perfectly standing still and not moving, right? Maybe I just have the top half of them. That's not going to align with these perfectly. It could work, and I think it'll work probably up to like the 4 and 5, 6-ish. Again, on a straight up IPSC target, yes, this is designed for that. Okay, it'll probably work with most 5.56 ballistics, right? 5.56 308 ballistics. But to me, not having anything to the sides is like, okay, well, what are we doing here? At least with some of the reticles, like with the PLX from Primary Arms, which is my favorite LPVO still to this day. So basically I have that mill grid reticle, and yes, it still uses that BDC for the initial couple rungs, and then as you get down, those further hash marks, they're mills. They're mill lines, so I can actually measure out and I can say, okay, if I know that distance is, say I'm shooting a little bit further, and that's why this is great on something that you're intending to shoot a little bit further distance, where you say, okay, yeah, I can hold 6 mils, I can hold 8 mils. I know where those marks are. You don't have that with this. You just have a BDC reticle that you have to kind of figure out. In that weird Tetris thing, it's going to be 550 or whatever. And again, the thought process also from Arken is probably that, hey, the majority of our customers are going to be shooting targets at a range, and that's it. Which, if you're doing that and you're just shooting IPSC targets, it's probably not the worst reticle, but I'd also still like to have something for wind holes, because that's the big what if, the big elephant in the room when it comes to long range shooting. What the hell is the wind doing, okay? And how do we correct for that? Now, again, most people are not shooting extreme long range or even long range, right? 600 and longer with an LPVO. I get that. I like to do that. I like to push the limits. Call me crazy, but I like to have an LPVO that if I need to, I can shoot out to 800 with most of my rifles, right? Anything I'm putting an LPVO on, 800 is that max distance, realistically, right? Because the magnification just isn't there for further distances past 800. Also, I'm putting it on a gun that 800 is probably, we're gonna reach transonic range soon. Not at 800, but maybe 900 or 1,000. At that point, I'm gonna call it 800. That's an 800 yard gun. Cool. LPVO goes on top, 2 to 10 maybe. We'll see. Anyways, back to the Arken and back to their reticle. It's just, I wouldn't buy it. And it's a shame because of the value. I guarantee the glass is really good. I guarantee it's well made. I just can't get with that reticle. Now, the next thing is the weight, right? We're looking at 20 ounces for these bad boys. 21 ounces for the 1 to 8 and 20 ounces for the 1 to 6, which isn't terrible. It's not terrible, actually. I'm a little bit spoiled with the 16 ounce PLX from Primary Arms. Again, you're paying for that premium. It is lightweight, and that's why I love this optic, but it's also super high quality. Glass is awesome. Everything about this optic is freaking awesome. My favorite optic. I haven't said that before. Now, again, we're looking at over 20 ounces for these things. So I'm looking over at the Primary Arms. They have their SLX 1 to 8, and it's the first focal plane with the Raptor reticle. And those optics are actually pretty good. I've used those before. I had that before I got my PLX, and they work. They straight up work. Weight, 17.9 ounces. So we're coming in, 2 to 3 ounces under what the Arken is. So for me, honestly, I'll probably stick with the Primary Arms SLX over that. Plus, it has better reticles. To me, when I'm picking an optic, I want the reticle that I want. That's why I love the Arken, the VPR reticles. I buy it because of the reticle. I like that reticle over reticles that you'll find in optics that are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. That's a very good reticle that they have in there. Very simple. It's not very cluttered. I like it. So, the Primary Arms, it's a little bit more than you're going to pay for the Arken, but I like their reticle better. It's a better design. And I'm pretty sure you can get the Griffin reticle in the SLX, which is money. For a 1 to 8, for under $500, that's wild. So those are the two reasons. Arken, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm a huge supporter of you guys. I love your optics. They're freaking awesome. You just might want to offer, and listen, maybe you just offer another reticle. Okay, you don't have to get rid of your kill box. If you're attached to it that much, that's okay. But maybe we look into other reticles, something with a grid system. That would be a huge seller. If you guys put in a reticle like that and you still kept at the 1x, you had that larger circle, and then you zoom in, you have a grid, do what EOTech's doing, copy EOTech, right? I don't think they'll care. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. That would sell, and then try to get that weight down a little bit. But even if the weight was kept the same, I would buy one of those in a second. In a second, I would buy one of those. As stands right now, and I think a lot of people, because I saw a lot of comments, a lot of people were like, yo, what the hell is this reticle? Can you please change it? And I know you commented back to me, you said, just try it, you'll love it. No. So that's it. That's enough of my Arken hate for one day. Again, I'm just joking. I love Arken. Great products, great value. You can just improve that. That'd be sick. And introduce a 2 to 10 or 2 to 12. A 2 to 10 honestly would be solid. A 2 to 10, keeping it lighter weight. I know your other optics are heavy. I'm okay with that. But look what you did with the EPL. Do that with a 2 to 10 or a 1 to 8 with a grid reticle, and you will not be able to keep those optics in stock. I guarantee it. Okay, that's enough for one day. Remember to get out there, keep training with your weapons and your body, right? Get strong. Every day that you're not training, the illegals that are crossing the border, they are. And on that, I'm out.